Hey, everybody, welcome to Tattooed in Business. I am your host, Brian Merrill, and this is Life in Business through the eyes of a Gen X male who happens to be covered in tattooed and been in corporate sales for over 20 years. So, first of all, if you guys didn't get a chance to check it out, I was just recently on a good friend of mine, Sean Murphy's podcast, Above the Bar. So, if you haven't ever checked him out, check him out, look him up. It was a really long show for me. But Sean just kept it going, and he talks, and he's a good guy, and he knows how to do this. He's been doing this a long time, so learned quite a bit from him. I got into a little bit of background stories of myself and kind of where I'm at in life and everything. It was really cool to talk with someone. He's one of the guys that is in one of my networking groups with me, and I'm very thankful I've met him in life and been able to become friends with him. Also, special shout out to Michael Lanudo. Mike Lanudo has become one of my best friends, and quite honestly, not sure what I'd do if I didn't talk to you every day. But Mike's a great guy, introduces people, connects people, and he's a hell of a financial planner. If anyone's looking for a financial planner, definitely got to check out Michael Lanudo. Mark Jones, another great meeting with Mark Jones this week. Dry Sig Apparel, guys, listen, hear that name, remember the name, okay? Best thing I can tell you is remember the name. So Dry Sig Apparel. And then of course, always thankful for my boss and mentor, Gina Curcio, everyone that I work with over at Curcio Printing. So just, I had like a great week. I'm pretty hyped up about it. Donnie Bovine and Kevin Snow, the guys from Success Champion Network, my girl Jen Pisano down in Atlanta. There's just so many, S.A. Grant, all these guys, like, it's that time of year, right? And we have, which is leading into the topic of the show today. So it's that time of year, right? We're basically mid-December. I know today's the 11th, but basically we're mid-December. The year is 2 weeks away from being over. So this is, I call it crunch time versus downtime, right? So in the sales game, business game, there's two different types of places we are at this point in time. So if you're a company who deals in large scale purchases that are going to be used for like capital gain, people got to get rid of money off the books, contractors, things of that nature. This is crunch time, right? And if you're guys who aren't really into that, are more of a B2C, a lot of their purchases have already been made. So this is kind of a downtime moment. So the question is, like, how do you handle both of these, right? So I've been in both worlds. I've literally sat in my house having a Christmas Eve party, and obviously Christmas Eve, and making a sales call and closing sales because it's that time of year and the customer is going out of town or whatever for the holidays, and we needed to get it done on Christmas Eve. So I've been through that where we are super crunch time, and all of a sudden we're working more hours to get the things done. You're probably not on the road as much where you're in the office getting all the paperwork, make sure everything's done. And then it goes right into New Year's Eve, like a cutoff time that they have to have them in. And this is that crunch time where you're really like, that's where your focus is. It has to be because it's how you close the year. And it's very important that these type of customers that have these capital gains and need to spend this money get this off their books. Okay, so for capital gains, obviously the purchase they make has to do something for their business. It's debt to the business to bring down their taxes, right? They need to spend more money to bring their taxes down, but it can't be recreational stuff. So, like, you can't go out and buy a brand new Harley Davidson and it be part of your capital gains. And I worked at Harley, and I always used to be amazed how many people actually did buy a bike the week after Christmas or around Christmas time, and they are thinking they're going to write this off on their taxes. Doesn't quite work that way. Okay, so it's a lot of times it was an excuse for guys to make a purchase without their wives or significant other getting pissed off at them, right? And that's kind of where it came in. But this time of year, capital gains, knowing the laws is very important. Making sure your accountant and you are communicating is super important in your financial planner, whoever it is that you need to talk to about these things, your tax diversifications, which I'll honestly, if it wasn't for Mike Lanudo doing a little seminar on that for us a few months ago, totally wouldn't even know what he was talking about. So we all think about diversifying our investment portfolio, but not taxes. So that's something that needs to be part of your quarterly conversations with your accountants and planners. Just FYI out there. Also, new laws going into effect are in effect for health insurance, retirement plans, everything like that for small businesses. So small businesses need to pay attention right now more than ever to money in, money out, where you're going. Um, so again, if you're not in that crunch time mode, you have this downtime mode, and it's real easy to get lazy, right? So everyone that gets in that downtime mode, like, what do, right? You clean your office, you're cleaning up files, you go to, but what you really need to be doing is taking a look at your entire first quarter. And if you haven't looked at your first quarter yet, you're behind the eight ball. So you should be coming up with game plan strategies, depending on the role that you're in, of course, how deep it's going to go, for where you're going to be in first quarter and projected throughout the year. Things you need to implement, things you need to do, customers you need to work with. Um, you should have an idea of your first quarter, what's going to be coming in already if this is a slow time for you. This is the time to invest back into yourself, training, seminars, anything that you can find to enhance yourself, your skills. Um, and it could just be a simple role play with someone in your office. What you really don't want to do, and I'm guilty of this. So back in the day, this time of year I sold forklifts, and it's very slow. Like, we joke around and, hey, what movie did you go see today? There was times that I fell into that because just being on the road and not having a lot going on because it's already been purchased, or at this point you kind of know what is going to be done, for the season when you come to certain things. But you need to be thankful, first of all, for everything that you have, and don't take any of this for granted, especially if you're busy. If you're busy and this is crunch time, again, we go back to the I get to, not I have to mentality. But it's a grind, and some of us live for that. And when you get out of that, where you're living for that grind, sometimes it's hard to pick yourself back up and avoid that downtime syndrome. Um, so what I do, so right now for me, so I'm in commercial printing, promotional products and branded apparel. So right now for commercial printing, this is it, right? So because you can turn around print very quickly, we're still very busy. So literally Friday, having the conversation. We're ahead of the game where we were last year. Just had another conversation with another person that's a friend of mine. She has a very successful business, and they're up significantly this year from last year. And they're seeing they see a growth every year, but they actually asked us where we're at, just kind of seeing if we're seeing an anomaly this year, and they've seen an anomaly this year. They've seen very large growth, but a lot of that has to do with the type of business they're in. Um, the decorating, the wraps, and stuff on your vehicles, that that can be a write-off, right? That's investment in your business. That's a capital gain type thing. So they're very busy right now, which is awesome. I always love to see people doing well. Even my competitors, as much as we all bitch about each other, you always want to see people do well for themselves. So don't be a hater out there in reality. Just high five each other and go back to the phone and say, all right, I'm going to beat you now, and come up with a game plan and how to move forward and do that. The downtime syndrome is the one that's tough, right? So this time of year, like we said, is very easy to get caught up in stupid little things, but you need to focus on what's going to keep you from being like this every year. And set up a game plan to move forward, to how to keep growing, how to keep momentum, how to keep your mind sharpened in the game. That's why I say, so if you have a lot of downtime right now, do some seminars, do some virtual networking, uh, reach out to the people that you've never or haven't reached out in a while and you're guilty of not contacting, and just wishing them, happy holidays, which, Merry Christmas or whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're reaching out and staying in touch. You really excuse me, you really want to make sure that you're trying to stay top of mind with everybody. As you see, like I mean, I'm yawning, I'm tired, and it's because I grind. Even though it's my downtime, I'm still grinding. I'm researching equipment. I'm researching companies I want to work with. I'm trying to reconnect with companies I want to work with. And I've said this before, and I'll say it a million times. Um, if you're a salesperson, you think you're going to be in a 9 to 5 job or a part-time job, you're an asshole and you're an idiot, because there's no such thing. When you're in sales and you're truly committed to your craft and you're truly committed to what you do, this is not a 9 to 5 job. This is a life. This is a career. None of us chose this path on purpose. Nobody goes to high school and says, I want to go be a salesman. People don't say that. It happens to some of us. It happens to others of us. And you know what? I'm thankful for being a salesman. And the biggest part that drives me insane is lack of respect for the game and the craft. You know, I always say, you hate the player, not the, hate the game, not the player, right? But a lot of what I've talked about this in the last segment I did is a lot of people sit back and they're waiting for the phone to ring. They're waiting for this to happen. They're waiting for someone to introduce them somewhere. Don't be that guy, because eventually that well runs dry. I mean, you're going to eventually run out if you don't keep grinding. Um, and that's funny is sometimes you'll find opportunities that maybe not in your wheel well, but you can take something off somebody else's plate and then get your nose inside the tent. So, and that's important. That you need to not necessarily feel your customers' pains and hurt points, but you need to see them and experience a little bit of that so that you know how you can help them. And if you're not in the game to help them and you're only in there to sell them, then you're in the wrong game. Don't be a salesman. You give the rest of us bad names. That being said, there's roles for account managers, there's roles for customer service reps. I know it sounds like there's a hierarchy, but there really isn't. A salesman just hones his craft at everything. Account managers usually aren't salespeople. They're not really good at asking for the sale, but they're great at relationship. And the customer service rep is another one who's great at relationship. They're usually not driven by money or anything like that. Where a salesperson is very driven by money. They're very driven about that drive. It may not mean that they need to make that money. It's what it represents, a winning type of mindset and culture, which is something we'll talk about in another episode, is getting that right mindset. Because I'm always amazed, and I feel bad saying this, but I've worked with people that come out of and this goes for people that come out of the military too. So I mean, I'm a veteran, and I've seen people that come out of college athletics, and come out of the military, and you would think they'd be very driven people, and because of the way that the culture is. And a lot of times I find, and it drives me insane, is they don't have that drive. And I don't understand why, like what that mindset is that makes them want to be more of a take it easy versus a crunch time guy. They don't necessarily ask for the sale as much. It's like they've been programmed in their mind. I do this step, this step, this step, and I hit this great result. Well, you know what? Fucking sales isn't like that. There's no playbook that you do this step, this up, this up, and it equals success. If I don't do these things, my pipeline doesn't get full and I don't have a shot at it. And again, I'm going to digress for a minute. So when you have that pipeline of sales, it's important. I always take a look at this. Like, the only reason why you really need to have a CRM, if you're a larger company, you need to look at the report. If you're a smaller company, the reason why you have a CRM is so you can just keep track of your stuff going on. It's not to be beaten down on. It's not that people are micromanaging you, but that's a great way to just keep track of what you have going on, so things don't fall through the cracks. Especially when it comes to this time of year, because how many people out there back in July heard, well, fourth quarter, we'll get together for fourth quarter. I definitely got things I got to do I want to do company gifts, something of that nature. And then everything else comes up, and Next thing you know, you're looking at that book and, oh, I never even quoted them anything. Well, they didn't ask me for them, so they didn't need them. Or they're just going to look at this stuff coming next year. All cop outs, complete bullshit, guys. Complete bullshit. And if you got a salesperson that sits there and says, oh, they waited to do all this to fourth quarter or to next quarter, they're lying to you and they're lying to themselves. They lost an opportunity because people do things for their customers and their employees this time of year, and they make that decision just about around time Thanksgiving is when they're trying to finalize it. It's on you to freaking help them. Okay, so you want to make sure you're out there filling that pipeline, right? But what if I was to dive into your matrix, right, and look at it, and you have all the high percentage wins, and I mean like high percentage. So a high percentage win would be 40% and higher. Then you're not fucking holding enough, or you're lying about your numbers. If you have nothing but wins, you are lying about your numbers. You should have more losses than wins for proposals, because that means you're out there listening and presenting. I mean, it's real. Do a Google search. I mean, I haven't done it in a long time, but the top salespeople close 30 to 40% of their sales. That's it. 30 to 40. And if they're, I close 80%. Good. Quote more. You're conservative bastard. Quote more. You're not going after enough. I don't want a salesperson who's content. I want a salesperson who's hungry. That's what keeps going. That's what during crunch time you need to work on. You work on your elevator pitch. You need to work on all these things that equate to more chances of success, which more chances of success equals more quotes. The more quotes you do, the more you will close. Like, I hate to say that sales is still a numbers game, but it ultimately is. You just got to be better at crafting the numbers that you go after, right? Better lead generation, better SEO, better everything. Your website is your location now for business. So like all these real estate agents who keep thinking location, location, location makes a huge difference. Residential market, I'm sure it does. Commercial, it does. However, your website is your location. That's where people are going to find you. I mean, that's reality. That's the number one thing they do is they Google a business once they've heard about them. So they don't. That's where they're going to find your phone number. That's where they're going to find your location. That's where they're going to find your product and services. LinkedIn is a great source for a lot of things. You got to utilize these things. So in the downtime, fluff up your profile. Take a look at your LinkedIn. I have a girl, Rachel Simon, down south, who she's a LinkedIn guru at building your profile to make it more attractive to where it is you want to go. Give her a shout. Look her up. She's going to help you get to where you want to go. And and these things are important. Invest in your SEO. Invest in some things. If when I say invest, I'm not necessarily talking about throw some money at it. I'm talking about invest some time. Focus on some of these things. And here's the thing that drives me insane, drives me absolutely insane this time of year, more than ever. And this goes back to an article I read probably 20 some years ago in the Wall Street Journal, and it was talking about casual Fridays, how to be the death of business. And the article had to do with basically casual Fridays. They were doing a study that since companies implemented this where they don't have to dress up on Fridays, they do business casual, they were closing less sales. Okay. Now, business casual to most people at that time was Dockers, dress shoes, and a polo. We're talking guys that are used to wearing suits going to this way. I'm now seeing people since COVID that think it's acceptable to wear T-shirts and sweatpants and leggings and sweatshirts and ball caps into the office because, hey, I'm not going to meet with a customer today. Well, let me tell you a little fucking secret, guys. When you're on the phone and you're dressed like a bum, you sound like a bum. That's simple. I do not go in. I mean, your personality is your personality. Okay, I work for a company. Okay, if I'm working for them, then it's my job to represent them, their image, their brand. And I don't know too many people who want you dressed in T-shirts and sweatpants. And I'll even go to a company that probably everybody knows at this point if you're into the athletic apparel stuff, uniforms, BSN Sports. So BSN is buying up everybody, right? So they sell sporting equipment. They don't let their salespeople go in to meet with athletic directors, gym teachers, coaches, wearing sweatpants, a ball cap, and a t-shirt and a polo. That's not what they're. No, you are expected to dress and perform a different way. It is a reflection of how you talk, how you present yourself, everything. And if you have an impromptu customer stopped in and you're sitting there wearing a ball cap and a t-shirt and stuff, they're literally in the back of their mind really thinking, are you going to be here for me? Like, it's just, are you that nonchalant? I mean, and I'm not saying this is 100% rule for everybody, but reality is you, it sets your mind tone, your mindset. Um, like I'm trying to step up how I dress in the workplace, and um, I've even keep contemplating going back to being cleanly shaven again, because so many people now it's very acceptable to have a full beard, and um, and that's great. But there's so many people doing it. What sets you apart from everybody else? That's that's gonna make them remember you a little more. So it's like the old clean cut days and all that are not the norm anymore. It's kind of changed, and it goes back to, hey, I'm talking about a guy who's covered in tattoos. There are so many guys like me in corporate sales now. Like everybody knows, for me, like they're gonna see my chakra bracelet and probably my veterans bracelet for 22. And I don't even bring up ever in a conversation with a customer unless they bring it up that I'm a veteran. And why would we? It's not just not what we do. The focus needs to be on what I can do for you in your business. And by trying to take that off the plate, it's not the right thing to do. That's what you're there for. You got to remember, as a salesperson, and again, let's go back to whether you're on crunch time or downtime, you are there for your customer. You're not there for you. You're not there because, hey, oh, geez, I just look like I rolled out of bed and I'm running in the office. I'm typing in my crap in the computer. Bullshit. Come on. Start being professional. Be there for your customer. You need to be ready to go anytime, anywhere for them. That's what a customer wants. I want to know I can count on you 24 fucking 7. Have my back, and so even in that downtime, you need to prepare yourself for these new things. And if you need to also be honest with yourself, brutally honest, and take a look at it and think about it. Are you really invested in you, or are you just sitting back collecting a paycheck and bitching about everything else? And if that's the case, if you're not happy, you're not doing your employer any good, and you ain't doing you any good. So I'll wrap this up because I got on a pretty big tangent here off the side again, because I'm still fired up about something that happened a few weeks ago that I've seen and I've been noticing. So I don't mean to keep dwelling on it. But guys, crunch time, you got to keep sharp, man. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're getting sleep. Make sure take St. John's wort. Anything to help your mind function, keep going. Making sure you're still going to the gym. That's where I fall off sometimes, is I get out of that gym mode. I still hit the gym 4 times a week, but it's the intensity sometimes, and just keeping it going. This is that rough time of year for a lot of people to keep it going. But don't be a victim of the downtime. Turn that downtime into production time. Make sure you're doing something. I don't give a shit if you're cleaning or if you're getting to know the other coworkers that you haven't got to know. Anything to try to build yourself, whether it be business wise or spiritually wise or just growth as a human being. This is the time to do that stuff. Be planning your first quarter. I don't care. Like right now, I'm targeting left and right. I guarantee you this. You're making a cold call today on someone you've never talked to before. Screw it up all you want, because in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're not going to remember who you were anymore. Sometimes they don't remember who you are 5 minutes after the call. So it's okay. Use this time to hone your craft, get some product knowledge, do some studying, get some product knowledge underneath your belt, more more things like that if you have the downtime. If it's crunch time, man, you gotta fucking roll with it, baby. You gotta roll with it. Hopefully, you got the right support system around you that can accept you having to do these things and being top of mind with people and staying in front of them. You got 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks to close out the year for these capital gains customers. So keep it going. Make sure you're hydrating. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. That's all I can keep saying is making sure you're drinking a lot of water and staying focused on the end of the game. And then as soon as this stops, yeah, a lot of us for January actually is when it turns slow. The first week of January, that's the time to take your breather, your deep breath, and then you start right in. You start right in fresh. So to everybody, I'll be doing another podcast next week. But everyone have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. And again, this is Tattoo and Business. Check us out on YouTube under the same name, Tattoo to Business. Our email is tattootobusiness@gmail.com. Drop us a line. Check us out on Facebook. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Everyone have a great night, and it was great seeing all of you tonight.